Okay, good morning, everybody. So it's good to be able to see you. So let me ask you a question. Now we know that it has started. So do you know what I'm talking about? Can you guess? Obviously, I'm talking about COP26, right? COP26 has started officially today, as of today. And one thing we know we're going to talk a lot about, it's about finance, because there's going to be, I suspect, a number of initiatives that will be announced. The question is, how do you finance those initiatives? That's a very good question, because it's time for action now. It actually leads me to ask you questions. So are you developing a project? So how do you finance this project? Do you have a solar project, a wind project, a biomass project? How do you fund it? That's the question I want to discuss today into this video. So if you don't know me, my name is Tony Tio. I'm the founder and CEO of Renewable in Africa, your Africa clean energy champion. And this channel, the Renewable in Africa channel, it's for you to demystify the renewable energy sector. So whether you are a professional, whether you are an investor, or whether you are simply a business looking for solutions, in here, you will find your solution. So there's one thing I want to ask you to do before we carry on. Make sure that if you haven't done so yet, do subscribe into our channel, right? So, and also press the bell notification. Why? Simply because when there are new videos like what we're doing right now, you are notified and you can definitely make sure that you're watching it, right? Okay, that's great. Now, coming back to the topic of this video, talking about funding. So how do you fund your project? And this is a topic that we are dealing with on a daily basis on our case, because our company, Renewables in Africa, if you don't know, so what is that we do? We are a clean energy engineering company, but also a media platform. And as on the engineering side, so we obviously working on commercial industrial projects, right? Basically providing clean energy solution to businesses. And because those businesses are not asked to pay nothing, they're not paying anything at the start, basically no upfront cost to them, it means that we need to fund these projects. We need to find the money for that, right? So how do we do it? And that's the question I'm sure you ask yourself, because if you're also in the sector, maybe you're already an experienced developer, or maybe you just want to step into the sector. So that's the question you're dealing with on a regular basis. So how do you fund your project? That's what we're going to talk about. And I can talk about 3 ways we can do that. I'm sure there's multiple other ways, right? So if we are creative, but I want to talk to you about 3 ways. What are the 3 ways that you can use to fund your project? Let's have a look at that, shall we? Okay, that's great. So let me first of all just share my screen, yeah? And then I'm gonna talk to you about those different ways to fund project. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear a lot more about them. So just give me a second and I can do that. Okay, yes, and we share. Okay, so you have here the 3 ways you can raise money. You have convertible, you have equity, and you have mezzanine or mezzanine. It depends how you pronounce it. I'm sure you're wondering, so what does that mean, all those terms, right? And that's why I want to tell you, I want to talk to you about today. So if you look at the first one first, right? The convertible, what does that mean? Yeah, it's actually a promise for a future equity. It means that, let's imagine you want to develop a small solar project somewhere, I would say in Togo, for one, just take a different country. Yes, and you've already found the right off-taker that you can work with, basically the client who's going to be utilizing the power that you're going to generate from the power plant, this solar power plant that you're going to be building, right? And you know it's a reliable off-taker, because it's very important. Now you promise to this man, listen, you're not going to have to pay anything, I handle it, right? So that means now you have to raise the money for that. So how do you do it? So one way you could do that, as I said, is a convertible. It means that you can go and find somebody that has a lot of money that you know, maybe a wealthy individual, wealthy entrepreneur, or a company. And with this company, you can agree to have kind of arrangement whereby, right, you promise them that you're going to give them equity, right? But in exchange, they give you money. Yeah, they give you money. So it's a simple way that you can do that. And we call it convertible. That's why I say it's a promise of future equity. And that works a lot, especially when you are starting the project, meaning that you may not be already having the structure in place, but you need some capital to get things going. So you can agree that with them. And it's a relatively simple way to do that. Usually it's quite cheap and fast, meaning that you don't necessarily need to have a lawyer in place. All you can do your own agreements. As long as you sign it, the person that you're dealing with also sign it, that's okay. And it's very clear. So how much money that person is giving you and how much obviously you are promising him. And you want to understand how much you are selling from the company, because sometimes when we are at the beginning of the project, we can be sometimes so desperate to get money to get the project going, we are ready for anything. And if we're not careful, we end up selling a lot too much. That's why it's important for you to understand it. Yeah, so that's convertible. So hopefully you now understand what it means, right? So that's how you can do that. So somebody is giving you money in exchange for future equity, right? It's almost like it's loaning you money. Yeah, so that's how you can do it. And that's the first way you can raise money for your project. So if you don't know that, there you go. You have it right now. Is it clear for now? This is great. So if you have any questions, let me say that feel free to drop your question in the comment box, and I will look at that and I will respond. Because actually, it depends as well on what the response, what the question is. I may even decide to go and develop another project, right? So hopefully that that makes sense for you. So that's the first way you can raise money for your project. So what is the second way? So I have mentioned the second way is simply equity. Equity, you understand it, right? So that's usually when you've already set up the structure. You go and see somebody and say, listen, what I'm going to do, right? So I'm setting up this business, and this business is going to be serving this customer. I'm going to be installing solar into those customers, and this other customer, but I need to build the entity that's going to develop that. And I need some money, right, to get going, because I've promised this guy they have nothing to pay upfront. I take all the costs on myself, but I need money to be able to do that, to buy the equipment, and also to design the solution, to install the solution. I need some money, right? So the thing is, when you go for direct equity, straight equity, it's a slow and quite expensive process, right? Because you require lawyers. And when you know lawyers, obviously they charge you money, isn't it? Right? So, and what you do, you're exchanging a piece of your company in exchange for the money, right? So that's the difference here, because I'm sure you can ask me, hey, Tony, what is then the difference with convertibles? The difference here is for convertibles, basically, you don't necessarily have an entity in place, right? So they're giving you money even to kickstart, and all you do, you are promising that there's going to be some equity that you're going to be giving to them later on. So you can do that very quickly. Whereby, when in this case, you're having a proper discussion on equity, the entity is most likely already in place. It's going to be drafted properly by the lawyer so that you understand exactly what kind of equity you're getting. Yeah, that's what the investor will get. And also for the investor, he will want to know later on, as the company grow, right? So what's going to happen to this equity? Because you may want to raise some further money. He wants to know, am I going to be diluted? Am I not going to be diluted? He wants to understand. He probably wants to understand as well, right? Same thing as convertible. He wants to understand what's going to be the return that you are promising me. Yeah. Is it going to be 20% return? Is it going to be 30% return? Is it going to be less than that? He wants to understand. Yeah. And he may discuss with you. Okay. So because he would probably know that you are in need, so he may be a little bit greedy. So you want to be a little bit careful, right? So when you are discussing that with people, right, when you're selling your equity. So equity is a second way you can raise money for your project. And hopefully that's clear now, yeah? If it's not clear, again, as I say, drop your question in the comment box, and I'll make sure that I will address that. Yeah? So let's move on to the third way, shall we? And the third way to raise money is what we call mezzanine, right? So, or mezzanine. To be honest, I don't really know how to pronounce it. I've always said mezzanine, but I've heard other people say mezzanine. Yeah, so that's why I don't know what's the correct pronunciation. But anyway, you get the concept. It's a hybrid financing, right? Whereby somebody is giving you debt right now, but he's also saying that in case you're not able to necessarily pay the debts at some point in time, so they may convert that this debt into equity, getting some equity, right? So basically they're giving you debt, but with the right to move that into equity later on if there is if the situations requires it. So that's the third way that you can raise money. And you know a lot, or maybe you do not know, but it's a lot cheaper to have debt in your company than you have equity. Why? Simply because for the debt, the return, it's lower, right? Normally when you go and raise the debt, so somebody will be asking for, I don't know, interest rates. It depends. Okay, if you're talking about in Europe, single digit, low single digit would be 5-6%. In emerging markets, it's higher single digit, and then double digits. It could be anything between 7 and 15%. It all depends, sometimes more, right? So that's what a lot of people like to have those debt, but it's not always possible to have it. Whereby equity, you see people asking for 15 or 20%, because the whole idea is I'm putting my money and I want my money maybe to double, to triple within a specific a space of time. Yeah. So, but for the mezzanine, so that's what thing that you have as a funder. And it's important for you to know that mezzanine, most of the time, it will happen when you already have traction, right? When you've already built your vehicle, build your business. And yeah, and for what, and why am I saying that? Simply because for the mezzanine, as you can see, initially you get in debt. And most of the time you get debt, most of the time, not say always, you get debt when you have some sort of collateral in place. When you have some collateral that allow you to, or allow the investor to trust you and to give you the debt, right? So that's why it's sometimes a little bit difficult to get that right right at the start, right? So usually for growth companies. So that means if you are a developer, you already build a number of solar farms, already build a number of waste to energy a factory, you go and see somebody and you can see that, okay, it means that I can give you money, but your collateral is maybe you can already put in some of your equity in on one of those assets that you've developed as a collateral, then I can do that to you. And what we can do is, if at some point in time you struggle to get money, then obviously to give me back my money, obviously I'm going to turn it into equity. So those are the three ways. So developers usually would do that. And I can tell you, so for us in the company, clearly these are ways that we're also looking at raising funds. We're actually raising funds to develop our project. I thought I would develop it because it's the subject of finance is very, very important. As I say, you're going to hear about that a lot during COP26. Yeah. So how do you not bring it down for people like you and I developing this project? Yeah. So it's important to notice that. So does it make sense for you? Is it all clear? So if that's okay, please just smash the like button. Yeah. So that's important. So I like to know whether you like it or not. So if you don't like it, just let me know as well and leave a comment, and we can make sure that we do what we can to improve it. Yes, because every Sunday we have a video that we share with you. So that's how we pass on the knowledge. And that's great. If you have any question, I'm more than happy to respond, like I say, in the comment box. And I also know that some of you probably watching because they have in mind they would like to become a solar developer. They would like to become a solar entrepreneur. So they have an idea in mind. They want to develop it. Well, the good news, great. Obviously, what I've done here, it's a very short video giving you 3 ways you can raise money. I've talked about the convertibles where you can actually get money in exchange for a promise for equity in the company you're going to set up and develop it that's going to run those projects. I've talked about the direct equity where you're swapping a part of your company for money. Yeah. So that's what I discussed, and I talk about the mezzanine, which is here, which is obviously the hybrid financing between debt and equity. So, but what I say that I'm conscious of the fact that what I've shared with you here, it's probably not long enough for you to properly understand all the contour. And I'm saying some of you, I'm guessing, will want to become a solar entrepreneur, right? So do you have this idea in mind? You say, okay, I like to go there, but I don't know how to make it happen, right? How can we make it happen? The great thing is we've actually running a workshop that I'm organizing, and it's going to be on the 17th of November. And the whole idea is going to be about talking to you about how to become a solar entrepreneur, and sort of give you all the blueprint, right? All the ideas, so how you can make it happen, give you the tips and hints for you to make it happen. So if you are interested, I strongly would encourage you to sign up for this workshop. So it's a free workshop. You get a lot of value there. You get a lot of information, and you can go and apply that. So what I do, again, I drop the link. That's it, the link in the comment box, and make sure you sign up. It's on the 17th of November. This is it. That's great. So that was the topic for today. So hopefully that's interesting. You'll keep watching what's happening on COP26. So it could be quite interesting. There may be some opportunity there that you can explore. I certainly will be doing that. I may actually even be traveling to Glasgow. We'll see, but definitely keep watching it. So yeah, I think that's all I could say for today. So this is Tony Teo from Renewables in Africa, and also the author of the Wind Energy Outlook in Africa. And then I wish you a pleasant Sunday, a wonderful week. And as I say, all that is left for me to say is, look at that. Oh, the other side. May the sun be with you. Ciao. Get better.